Thanks, Stavros. When I got a call last week from Creighton Prep, and it came up on my phone, Creighton Prep's call, so I immediately answered, hello, Mr. Ryder. And I was pleasantly surprised when it wasn't. It was Kathy Bernalini, and she said, will you speak at the prep breakfast? So the first thing I thought was, whoever was going to do it has pulled out. And I think that's right. The second thing I thought is, well, what about our most popular prep alumni, Larry Culpepper, the Dr. Pepper guy? I assume he's busy through the Super Bowl, and I was right. Then I thought, why don't you ask Alexander Payne? Well, apparently Alexander Payne is on location filming another story about Nebraskans, about kids who choose a school because they might be able to play sports rather than an academically rigorous school. And the working title of that is About Scott. Then I said, well, Kathy, what do you want me to talk about? She said, we'll talk about prep, what it means to you, and how it influenced the way that you teach your children. And have a few remarks like that. And I said, well, that's fine, but that does require some perspective about what prep was like when I was there from 1972 to 1976, which was, in some respects, quite different, and in some respects, quite the same as today. With respect to teachers, before you guys had Mike the Champ and Swanee, we had Buck and Pork and Bobo and Buttface. Things we had for our teachers. The number of Jesuits was a lot different. I looked, and there's about 5 Jesuits there today. When I was there, there were 20-some Jesuits, almost all of them teaching. And these were men of intellectual distinction, varied backgrounds. They could teach anything from Thomas Aquinas metaphysics to Spanish and IPS. And some of them were crazy, as many of you who went to prep know, and Father Calamea comes to mind. Now, as I've thought about it, he really wasn't crazy. He wasn't Jonas Lukey crazy. It was more just eccentric. I mean, he didn't deny global warming or evolution or minimum wage, but he was quite eccentric. Which led me to think, with respect to prep, why is it that every other class teaches men for others, and economics teaches every man for himself? The other thing that was different was that the prep president had long-time tenure. What you've seen lately, prep presidents have the life expectancy of an Al-Qaeda leader. And I would tell Father Tom to, hopefully the only drone you hear will be your own. Prep in 1972 and 76 also had different views on health and wellness. We as seniors had a smoking lounge in school. Before you think that it was really cool, it wasn't like cigarros or something like that with leather chairs. It was the ham radio operator's room that they gave us to smoke in. And they don't do that anymore, but a ham radio operator on the hierarchy of geeks was on the bottom rung at that time. Today, you have a random alcohol testing that can determine that somebody burped in your face 6 months ago at a party. And for those lucky ones who have had their names drawn for the random drug and alcohol test, you ought to consider buying a raffle ticket this year if you're on. You must be on some kind of a hot streak. Technology was also different. We had a single electric typewriter in Brother Campbell's typing class. Today, with your iPhones and iPads and MacBook Pros, you have more computing power than the Apollo space program has. And you use it, from what I've seen, primarily for Snapchatting and following tweets. Kind of a waste of the technology that you have. Your view towards college selection was much different. We took the ACT one time. We didn't have any review courses. Now I know Mr. Coyle is a friend of everybody's family, and you take the ACT more times than Peter Schrock flies to Chicago. When I went to Creighton, my first day of school and my school visit were the same day. Much different than today. And I paid more money this year to UNO for dual enrollment fees for John than I paid in tuition as a senior at Prep. Like most kids, I was oblivious to the profound influence that Prep would have on me and on the way I live my life and as a father. For the kids that are here, you will, when you graduate, feel a kinship. Obviously, I can't fix this for you'll feel a kinship with all Prepsters. And once you graduate, you'll see that apostrophe 15, 16, 17, 18 makes you part of a larger thing than you as an individual. It is incredible the amount of camaraderie and the networking that is done just by virtue of the fact that you're a Prep grad. People remember that, they remember when you went, what years, who were your friends, and Prep keeps track of you. I think Nate Dremel probably accumulates more information on us than the NSA does, and they will be following you once you leave. That's especially true during this time of the liturgical year called Bash fundraising. And they will follow you and make sure that you're going to have to get rid of the debit account when you graduate. They're going to need checks, I think. They don't swipe anything at Prep. But not only did I learn a lot about life while I was in Prep, I learned a lot about being a father. And it's counterintuitive that you would learn about being a father from the Jesuits who take a vow not to have children. But they did provide a role model for us in a way that I didn't appreciate at the time. Like a father, what they do is they impart wisdom. Now I have to call BS on Father Tillman for what he said in his homily today, that when your father speaks to you, he speaks like Christ is speaking to you. I've never claimed to John that I speak ex cathedra, and I can't imagine telling him that God wants him to take out the garbage, or God wants him to make his bed, or God wants him to trim his sideburns. I just don't think that I have that kind of power. But what Prep taught me about the imparting of wisdom to kids was that you need to be serious without taking yourself seriously. The most embarrassing thing I can say about anybody who is an adult, really, is that I don't take them seriously. You can have fun, you can be humorous, but you need to be a person of substance. And Prep teaches you that. It teaches you that while you can have a good time, it's important that you be somebody who actually has ideas and thoughts and thinks about things. Prep, especially the Jesuits, like your father, challenges you. They teach you the value of hard work. They demand excellence, like a father does. Whatever you do, sports, the classroom, even the dance routine at the South game last weekend, this weekend, they demand excellence in whatever you do. And more importantly, they teach toleration and virtues. I think it's true that when you read in the paper about Millard kids who make slurs about people at the Martin Luther King movie, or you hear people talk about others in public offices, they talk about the president disparagingly or something like that. Prep teaches you, whatever your political views are, you need to be tolerant and you need to be appreciative of diversity. You don't have to agree with everything that certain political parties say, but you need to be a person of civility, a person that is tolerant of other people's views. Like most teenagers, you won't appreciate that at this time. I didn't appreciate much of anything when I was 14 to 21. And what you didn't appreciate was that the love your father has for you, and you will never understand that until you have your own children. Once you do, you will look back and you will understand how much love a parent has for you. And same with Prep. Until you get out and get into the world, you won't realize what a special place it is until you move on. Papa Francesco, talked about fatherhood recently. And he defined it as giving life to others. For the Jesuits, that's a paternal, pastoral paternity, or spiritual fatherhood. But nevertheless, it is fatherhood. And he said, the Pope said that to exist, to become complete, in order to become mature, you must feel the joy of fatherhood. Perhaps taught us what's important in life, and what is merely a distraction. It had a lot to do with teaching me how to discern the difference, and for that I'm eternally grateful. And I think all fathers here would agree, whether you went to prep or not, that for as much as we complain and cajole, and criticize, and express our temporary disappointment about our boys, they're the light of our lives. And they're the reason why we exist. They're the reason why we do what we do. And for that, and for prep, I'm especially grateful. There, one spoiler alert, especially for the freshmen and sophomores, you will not need algebra once you get out of high school. Regardless of what they've done.